For over a decade, Star Citizen ships have been purchased with cash, credits have become inflated, and reputation has been a blip on the radar. Progression in Star Citizen has been dead, but Alpha 4.8 is finally doing things differently. Crafting recently added reason to the things you're doing, allowing you to change FPS weapon stats. In 4.8, ship components, weapons, and most industrial tools are being added to that pool, which means every mission you take can lead to new blueprints. Every mineral you mine can turn those blueprints into higher quality gear, and every stat increase you craft into higher quality gear can allow you to do it all over again at a higher level. Real player progression is finally taking shape in Star Citizen, and in 4.8, virtually all of your player progression is going to be white. It's time to start fresh, my friends, as this will be the first time a real player market has had the chance to develop in Star Citizen. But if you don't enjoy that, there's also a massive new PvE fleet battle, refueling gameplay, a crossbow, and enough ship releases to send funding over $1 billion this month. From the massive industrial hauler to the new tiny fighters, to the shark with a freaking laser beam on it, Alpha 4.8 is filled with new gameplay, new ships, and the chance for players to progress in their own way. But a lack of social tools, persistence issues, and content instability still mean this is just not ready to be most people's go-to game. I'm going to show you how Star Citizen's mid-game is finally starting to click into place in 4.8 and what is still holding it back from landing on its feet. Thank you for coming to my Tomato Talk. The last time Star Citizen released a major update, I said in my video this: if we see movement on this by 4.8 and CIG has managed to keep adding blueprints and materials to keep players interested, then this could be a successful rollout and improvement to the main loop in Star Citizen. But that's a big if. The if has ifed, folks. Crafting has expanded widely in 4.8 to include industrial tools like mining lasers, consumables, ship components, and upgraded ship weapons. While many missing features are going to hold your gameplay back, you are going to find an actual cycle to progress through in Star Citizen now. Let me lay it out for you. Alpha 4.7 introduced mineral qualities to the game. This allowed for any material that you mine or find to have a specific quality that, when refined, would change the stats of whatever you made out of it, and the other materials in the recipe. The possible quality ratings ranged from 1 to 1,000. This got tiresome for folks, particularly because it led to dozens of different mineral deposits in your inventory. Now, there are specific segments of this 1,000 quality range that, when an asteroid or deposit spawns with a material within that range, said material will automatically correspond to a target quality within the range. For example, while out mining for about an hour, I found aluminum 318, aluminum 511, and aluminum 783. This was in addition to copper and corundum deposits, but every asteroid I came across met those levels of aluminum quality. And that's because even though I was discovering asteroids that statistically might have been 280 quality or 740 quality, the game still rounded them out to specific values so that all of the aluminum I was finding fell into a couple different buckets. I don't know if this is permanent, as there are still changes planned with refining, but this essentially limits us to 8 quality levels still based on 1,000 random inputs. And it is a huge change to the process that led to me easily collecting 68 SCU of a single quality level of aluminum. But once you've done your mining and refining, this is where things really change from the last update. See, you can now craft shield jennies, power plants, quantum drives, mining lasers, ship weapons, backpacks. Outside of cosmetics, you could start building your own collection of better than average goods. What is yet to be seen is how much these stat increases can truly affect our ability to extract higher quality materials. See, during the PTU, I was trying to work my way towards these things and unlocking blueprints, but CIG kept wiping progress and making it pretty difficult to keep up with this stuff, so I didn't get to test this out just yet. But if we can simply get everything we need pretty easily with the basic equipment, there's not going to be much reason to strive for better unlocking these blueprints and getting the best materials to make better mining lasers. At the same time, we've already seen updates where base level prospectors are fairly out of luck, so balance is going to be key here, as will be persistence. As of the current release, Star Citizen is still dealing with a lot of persistence issues. You may lose items between patches or even full ships. Sometimes you could even just step off a ship and it disappears.
What the f just happened?
It's pretty bad. But supposedly there are some pretty key changes to the registration and imprint system handling this persistence of items and ships coming up. and it's going to have some real impacts on players and the economy in 4.8 and beyond. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, with this update, Star Citizen is seeing virtually a full wipe of all player progression excluding blueprints, so inflation should be wiped out. Everybody is set back to zero, and the mad rush of progression starts right now for everybody for the foreseeable future. Obviously, with this reset, that means that all of the exploits out there must have been solved, or they wouldn't have done this yet, right? Along with this wipe, like I said, is the most monumental change in a while, the beginning of item registration, insurance, and a return to full loot Star Citizen. When you go to a ship spawning terminal, you will now be able to register your ship. Think of this like a fake insurance for the things that you have equipped, like weapons and components. When you do lose that ship, you're going to have to pay an AUEC amount comparable to the items that you've registered in value. If you do not register your things, or you choose the default claim, you're going to lose all those crafted components. Somebody else might find them and use them, or they might just sit there, never to be used again. But when those items are claimed, anybody who has salvaged them or stolen them will eventually not be able to use them anymore, and they'll be bricked. This is a temporary part of the feature, but it is the main setback of the secondary stage of item recovery, which was laid out about a year ago on the forums. Ultimately, the goal is to bring the game back to full loot, the ability to find and claim things, salvage and repurpose ships, and even sell something stolen on the black market. For now, it's just going to annoy you when a ship weapon randomly stops working because it got bricked, or because the game messed your ship up and forgot it exists even though you just claimed it. This is arguably going to be a pretty big deal because missiles and weapons do cost a lot when you claim them, so the mission payments are going to need to be buffed to counteract that. Luckily, developer Elliot did let us know on the forums recently that the Econ team is working on a mission buff update pretty soon. Now, before we move on, I also want to mention from a stats and crafting standpoint, character customization comes from the equipment you choose and how you maintain it. Just like with combat crosshairs in combat helmets last year, players are going to resist higher G-forces in flight suits and black out faster and heavier armor. This will expand over time to encompass all kinds of armor, stats, and specialties you can pursue through this crafting cycle that we're in. But what do you do with all your cool components and ship weapons once you've crafted them? Well, it turns out in 4.8 the Vanduul are very interested in crafting and have stepped up their invasion of the Nyx system. They would like to see how well your new items are working. Alpha 4.8 brings with it tactical strike groups, the first PvE-focused fleet battles in Star Citizen, requiring you to bring ships of different roles, fighters, bombers, even capital ships that play a unique part in a defensive mission that culminates in somewhat of a trench run to spice things up and send a missile down a ventilation hatch to destroy the base. I've not played through this enough to review it, but the concept itself is a good sign for Star Citizen. These kinds of large-scale ship-based encounters are one of the most novel things the game can produce, and as we bring forward more features like boarding, breaching, hacking, and carrier gameplay, the more these scenarios are going to shine. Another way to get stuck into combat in this patch is new missions focusing on defending areas in space, particularly where fuel tanks are. They aren't really anything to write home about. When I tried it in the PTU, all I got to spawn was an Aurora bomber. The only way I can see an Aurora being a bomber is just flying it into something. But at least it's another new mission type for the ship combat players out there to work hopefully over time. Speaking of which, ships like the Idris now have capital ship services, which now allow you to live out of a home base with proper services to your smaller ships when you are running these combat missions, or when you're not. Ships like the Polaris, Carrack, Idris, and 890 Jump can now refuel, repair, and restock ships straight from their cargo holds. So while you will have to keep supplies stocked, you can now live out of your Carrack, flying down to missions, turning in your goods on board, and signing off from the bed. It's genuinely a new type of way to play. This rolls over into refueling improvements. The once added and long forgotten refueling feature that did once attract the fuel rats to Star Citizen for a short while has seen an overhaul this patch. It made the process a bit more simplified for better and worse, more intuitive, and less clunky with things like auto-docking and unified docking requests. In addition to actual feature improvements, NPC refueling missions have been added, and players should be able to make beacons to call for refueling and answer other beacons to help players in need. While we couldn't get the player-to-player refueling working just yet, an NPC did quickly show up to get me refueled and back on the way with their own double Scorpius escort to make sure I wasn't a bad actor. While these aren't the only ways to play in Alpha 4.8, This is the focus. We are in the age of industry. Services like refueling, engineering, crafting, and refining are coming online to support salvage and mining. And the fights you find yourself in might actually be won by whoever can master those professions best. We are very quickly transitioning into a game filled with stockpiles, trade routes, and regular trade deals to lock down the specific things that you need, and those separated islands of gameplay are starting to connect. My own org has already developed our own supply chain and back-end systems to begin trading with other orgs, supplying our fabricators with high-quality goods and stocking up on materials. If you're interested in trading with or joining an org like it, you can check us out down below, shoot a message to us on Discord, or head over to gii.app. And I can't end this section without mentioning the transportation system. Finally showing up in the game after years of waiting, it's unfortunately not ready for a wide rollout. For now, it'll be confined to Grimhex, wrecking the pirates while CIG works out the kinks. But over time, this is meant to fix all those annoying elevator, train, freight system, and ship navigation problems we've all been having. But you can just believe that when you see it. Outside of the tech additions, though, there are still plenty of reasons this progression of gameplay that's taking shape still doesn't fully click. You still can't see blueprints anywhere but on your fabricator, really hurting the main form of progression right now. Dismantling only works on items that already have blueprints, which is kinda hit or miss, and the default material quality is 500, so anything you craft with below that is a debuff. And until we get base building, I'm not sure CIG is going to be able to make sub 500 quality materials useful. There are the persistence issues I mentioned as well, and the biggest issue of all, you can't talk to anybody. With no looking for group or stable voice comm system in Star Citizen, it's too difficult for lone players to group up still, and even groups can have difficulty getting together. But don't worry yourself about silly, potentially game-breaking bugs. Sit back, relax. I have new spaceships to show you now. I want to tell you about the Starlight, a new, small, refueling ship with a fraction of the Starfarer's capacity and a pretty cozy, homey design. An entry-level ship for the frontier dweller that fancies themselves the last saving grace out in the black. This is the smallest refueling ship in Star Citizen so far. As somebody who doesn't consider myself a MISC fan, I find myself liking just about every design that they've put out nowadays. While I do love the design, I am most interested to see if this ship can start a burgeoning group of Star Citizen's very own fuel rats over time. Next up is the Drake Ironclad, the star of the show. After 2 years of hype almost down to the day from the announcement, all corners of Star Citizen are flocking to see this cargo ship seemingly designed for Star Citizen's cargo gameplay in a large capacity, made by Drake. It was made to be a fan favorite with its top opening door, its rustic design, secured cargo storage, and its standalone command module, but it's only been in player hands for a few days now, so we'll see how it fares over the next few weeks and months. That command module that attaches to it though, that's a wild card. It's its own ship. Quantum drives, jump seats, thrusters, life support. You can detach this thing from your ship, take it for a trip, attach it to another Ironclad or Caterpillar, run some more missions, and then return home. We've talked about being able to live off your ship as a home base in this video, but the Ironclad comes with a runabout built in. If that wasn't good enough, there's also a combat variant. The Ironclad Assault is a very similar ship, but it comes with an internal repair bay, several turrets for defense, and it supports the same hangar services as the Carrack & Co. So it's a literal home base that you can use to come and go, and I'm super excited to live off this thing for a couple of weeks. And from large to small, Drake is delivering in 4.8, with the Pitbull Snub Fighter ship also landing in the main competition seat to the more extravagant, but not nearly as classy, Mirai Fury. Now, with hangar services and refueling becoming a bigger consideration once they've balanced the mechanics a bit over the next few updates, these snub ships are going to make a lot more sense going forward. Similarly, Pew Pew, but on a larger scale, Origin is introducing their own first ship in 5 years, the M80. Little is known about this ship at the time of writing, other than that it has 4 likely size 4 weapons, a very aggressive design, a small interior, and a lot of people excited to buy one. Then there's the Tiburon. We were warned about this thing a few times before it showed up, and I was still surprised. The shark with a freaking laser beam on it has finally landed, and it is similar to the hammerhead, but I'd excuse a player for not seeing the connection. Another ship that is still relatively unknown at the time of writing. I'll have more coverage about this over on Space Tomato 2 throughout the course of DefenseCon. And finally, the Odin. This thing, I don't know what this thing is gonna do. Obviously, it's gonna shoot things with its really big guns, and we've gotten some looks at this in concept art and in the PTU displays over the weekend, but this is an interesting beast. It's the last concept sale of Star Citizen, and it probably will cost more than $5,000, with who knows how long before it's more than a JPEG. And if you think that sounds wild, it is. This is a different level of Star Citizen that hasn't even become relevant yet. Honestly, I'm still waiting to be convinced CIG can create the game that supports coordination, content, and fleet battles big enough to justify this ship. Large-scale war, fleet battles, and anything calling for a ship this size is still so long away from mass adoption in Star Citizen. That being said, this ship's sale, along with these others, will likely send Star Citizen over $1 billion in public funding. And you know that's all the wider gaming sphere is going to get from this whole update. But hey, something, all good press, right? On the weapons front, we've got a couple new and different additions. The Novia crossbow will have a lot of fun proving itself in such a gun-heavy game. For now, stealth doesn't matter, and there are no EMP or tracking bolts that make it a unique weapon. It just looks freaking sweet. Then there's the new plasma grenade, an absolute menace. This is an area of effect grenade that'll take you out over time and do a pretty decent job of deterring people. The damage itself doesn't exactly match the effect, which is a little weird, and it's something I hope they can fix. And honestly, it's not what I imagine when I think of plasma, but I'm not a doctor. Finally, a couple last-minute honorable mentions include the 7 new hairstyles and 1 new beard coming in this update. It's always great that we're getting more character customization, as well as the Hammerhead Gold Pass coming with the Tiburon. Anytime we're getting a Gold Pass on one ship, we're probably going to get another ship that runs off the same chassis. It is nice to see another Legacy ship brought up to standard, mostly. Then there's a new Tailwind flight suit, which in PTU was removing our hands and feet. But if you want your own copy, you can permanently unlock it by watching 4 hours of Twitch live streams from May 14th to the 27th. There are hundreds of creators that will be streaming during this time, so spread out the love. Go watch a couple people play. And maybe the update will stay stable long enough for us to start feeling like we are actually, finally, progressing in Star Citizen. In my Alpha 4.7 video, I told you crafting was just getting started, but needed to be added on pretty quickly. And they did that. And hopefully, they can keep the ball rolling with item recovery progressing to the rest of our things, player beacons continuing to expand beyond refueling, and refining gameplay making an appearance to make crafting more interesting. Star Citizen's core loops, progression, and mid-game are finally starting to click into place. And aside from the bugs and instability, we are getting closer to a proper game environment. The feature sets, content additions, and core tech that's showing up here is leaps and bounds better than previous years. But until CIG can provide proper social tools, guarantee players can actually log in to find all their things intact, and create a reputation and security system that guides player behavior, it's still only just starting to come together. One thing I'd like to leave you with is this. In Alpha 4.8.3, Xenothreat will make a return, probably in June. And like previous events, you will get account-bound items once you complete it. This time though, those account-bound items are going to be the blueprints for high-level items, which will permanently unlock your ability to craft a component, now and in Star Citizen 1.0. From the progression to the rewards, things are starting to get a lot more real. I hope you enjoyed this look at the latest update to Star Citizen. If you want more daily, regular news, weekly podcasts with other creators from around the community, and deep dives into the game's development, check out Space Tomato 2 where I post daily. If you're looking for exclusive videos every month, live podcasts, and some behind the scenes of how we put all these videos together, you can check us out over on Patreon as well. And if you want to learn more about this update with me, I'm streaming every week on Twitch and on this very YouTube channel. Thank you again for watching until the end. I hope you learned something new in this video, and I'll catch you in the next.